What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put that thing on all, so then you can get sort of all our notifications, all the latest activity on the channel. You can be first to know on that one. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into this one. I'm going to talk today about some of the boxing over the weekend. The first one that I saw was I think it was Saturday morning, the big New Zealand card, where you had, as a main event, you had Joseph Parker versus Junior Farr, and these guys were amateur rivals. They were about 2-2 as amateurs. I think Parker won 2 fights, and Farr won 2 fights, so they were dead even in the amateurs. And yeah, they'd always been sort of aware of each other as fighters, and I think Parker was the one coming into this with a lot more sort of world championship experience, having taken on Anthony Joshua, Dillian White quite recently. He's the one that's sort of been a world champion before, but I think beat Andy Ruiz for his world title, beat Carlos Takam as well. He was the guy coming into this as, I think he was the slight favourite. Junior Farr is still very much he's sort of level below that, not yet sort of experienced at the top level with the proper elite guys as yet, but he's a guy with some potential. So going into this, that's kind of the scenario that we had there. So yeah, overall this fight was definitely opened in a quite interesting way. You had Parker sort of pressing the action from the word go. Junior Farr was kind of posturing quite a lot and sort of looking for the counters. You know, Farr was kind of the one that was happy for Parker to make the first move, and he was sort of, you know, holding his shape that bit better, looking for little counters here and there and stuff. There wasn't really much in the first couple of rounds. I think from what you know, my sort of, I didn't really score it, but from my perspective, I thought Joseph Parker did that bit better within, especially the first 3 rounds, just by basically being active, because I felt those first couple of rounds, Farr wasn't really active enough to be winning the rounds. It was doing certain little things that were pretty good, but overall, I didn't find it to be enough to really sort of warrant him getting the rounds. So I sort of felt Parker done better in that sort of first half. I think the mid rounds it got a lot closer, with Farr countering quite effectively, and I found Joseph Parker's, in some things he was doing, they were a bit amateurish. Like, he was kind of one thing I didn't like to see from him was that he was falling in with the shot. So he was doing sort of similar to what Chris Eubank done against George Groves, where they're not sort of jabbing their way in, they just sort of stand at a distance and then try and dive in with a big swing or a big right hand or whatever, you know what I mean? So he was doing a lot of that, falling in and not setting his shots up properly. He was just trying to wade in with swings, and he was making the fight, making the action, but so there was a lot of mistakes. And with Farr was mainly just standing off him. Farr did do some very good work in terms of being a counter puncher. He was able to catch Parker with a lot of shots, but again, his work was, I would say, mainly in bursts for the duration of this fight. With Junior Farr, I think the fight was really nip and tuck throughout. Parker sort of being the aggressor, and Farr working in these little short bursts where Parker may miss and he'll just catch him, boom, boom, boom. And there were some, it was one of them where there were some good clear rounds for both guys. The main difference was just that Farr was standing off of Parker quite a lot of the fight, and you know, Parker was always sort of trying to dive in and trying to be the aggressor. He was always sort of the aggressor. And I think overall, championship rounds also, I felt they were quite close when it came to sort of 10, 11 and 12. You had Farr having probably I think especially if I'm not mistaken, the 12th round, Farr was having quite a lot of success with counters where Joe's trying to come in and bowl overhand rights and hooks, and Farr was very successful in doing certain things like hitting him, landing combinations, then holding Parker. So he was using what the commentary were describing as like a Klitschko technique for some of this fight as well, and that kind of worked well for him, where he'd counter, he'd hit Parker, and then sort of tie him up. And yeah, overall, at the end, it was very close, nip and tuck. The decision went to Joseph Parker, which I think, yeah, in a lot of people's eyes, it's like you might think Junior Farr, but I think it's one of those where I don't think you could sort of complain either way. You could argue that Farr done enough, but I think overall, I'm not really complaining. Overall, it wasn't a exciting fight overall, but yeah, it was one of those where you could almost pick what you like, the aggression or the smooth sort of counter punching from Junior Farr. The thing I will say though is that the scorecard, like I think someone had it 118 to 110 or something ridiculous like that, and I think again that scoring there is a bit of a black eye for boxing in a way, because it was never a 118 anything to anybody, because the fight really was close. There was a lot of close rounds, a lot of rounds that were difficult, obviously, for the judges to score. For it to go so far to one side is a bit crazy. But yeah, congratulations to Joseph Parker. But I will say this, that on that performance, he doesn't look like he could do much damage. Neither one of them looks like there would be much of a force against the elite of the elite, against Joshua or the Fury or any of these guys. I mean, those two, they didn't really look like they could be much of a threat to the top guys in the heavyweight division. It was one of them fights. It was all right, but nah, it wasn't really impressive overall. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you thought. Did you think Farr won? Do you think Parker won? Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out. Catch you on the next one.